Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabados of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Ronich, a statewide news service, and jbiztechvalley.com. We have a very, very special guest with us, MaryLou Bartolotta, did I say it right? Bartolotta-Connelly. Connelly.
That's the tough part.
Yeah. You're not like a Goldberg or...
MaryLou is one of my favorite county legislators, and I've known her for so many years.
How many years are you there for?
20.
20 years, all right.
Well, it's a 4-year term, so she's won 5 elections.
Is that one of the more senior?
6.
The first one was 3 years.
Okay.
It's changed a couple of times because of redistricting.
Are you one of the more senior?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's effervescent.
Can't you just tell that I'm senior?
No, I thought you were 29 years old
She's
over here.
bubbly and effervescent, and she's just like very demonstrative, and she is very
Love what I do.
Loved, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Love what I do.
You gotta love what you do. That's important.
So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is your passions on the legislature. You represent Westmere, McKownville, Guilderland. What are your passions that keep coming back all the time?
Well, I'll let you know how it started.
Okay.
When I first ran in '92, I had been the regional director for I Love New York, the state tourism program for the capital Saratoga and central Leatherstocking regions for 12 and a half years until the then Governor Cuomo cut the I Love New York budget. So I had to look at my life and where I was going because I was going to be taking a different road. And I had run for state assembly. I worked in Washington for Congressman Joseph Resnick in '65. I ran his campaign in '64.
Now, didn't he represent like the Catskills?
Ellenville. Yeah, he was
That's
from
the Resnick
Ellenville.
family
That's the Resnick family.
Because the Ellenville Airport is named the Lou Resnick.
That's his
Ellenville,
brother, and his other brother, Harry Resnick.
Right.
And Justin Resnick actually was the first Resnick that I met. And he's the one who had the Troy mattress for a while.
Yes.
And, but, you know, I've been in politics literally my whole life.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful family.
And then you worked for Lieutenant Governor Mary Krupczak?
Right. Actually, in '76, I ran for New York State Assembly in Columbia Green and 85 square miles in Albany County. And then I moved to Albany to work for Mary Krupczak the last year and a half. She was Lieutenant Governor.
Because she ran against
Carrie.
Hugh Carey. And she started a trend where first-term lieutenant governors never work out. Because if you think about it, Mary Krupczak was the first-term lieutenant governor, and then Al Del Bello was under Mario Cuomo, and then Betsy McCoy Ross was under George Pataki.
He's a historian over here.
And then you had, the Spitzer, Patterson kerfuffle, you know, that was the whole thing. And then now we hear Bob Duffy may not run again for a second term.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's, you know, first-term lieutenant governors have not worked out since Mary Krupczak.
But what was interesting is Mary Ann
Yes.
beat Mario Cuomo for the lieutenant governor's spot with Carrie the first time.
The first time.
Yeah.
And then Carrie made Mario Cuomo Secretary of State.
Yeah.
There's a consolation prize.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
I have been in and out of politics my whole life. I mean, I was born on a farm in Columbia County.
So how did you get into it, from a farm to politics?
Oh, a lot of people go.
My father, actually, we had a cocktail party for Gore Vidal at my parents' house. Gore Vidal ran for Congress in our area. And my father was elected supervisor 25 years apart in our town of Livingston in Columbia County. He was like the only Democrat ever practically to win in the town of Livingston. But he was a farmer and he happened to be a Democrat. The rest of the family wasn't, but my father was. So he was very involved in the political process. And I used to go...
It's in your blood.
Oh, I used to go to the $1,000 a plate dinners at the Waldorf with my father growing up and going to political functions instead of anything else for my birthdays because it was just a bug that bit you and you know, and it's really servicing the community. And you going back, the reason I ran in '92 was because Albany County needed an airport. That was my key issue, a new airport.
So we had the Albany Airport.
Yeah.
but it was county run?
Well, oh God, yeah.
So
You know, it was
why did we need
forever.
and you need
What we needed is, a lot of people were saying that politics was too
insular?
much in the airport. So actually, Mike Hoblock was the county exec when I first got elected. And it was Frank Camiso, Charlie Hoteling, myself. I served on the airport committee from day one because I had been with the state economic development for 12 and a half years. And tourism, marketing, that was all part of what we needed.
Gotcha.
And we needed a new airport. So we were that was my key issue
So
when
who
I
did you
first
defeat?
ran. Bill Young from Guilderland. He's an
Okay.
attorney in Guilderland.
Okay. You still
And-
talk to him?
Oh,
Does he still
sure.
talk to you?
Actually, I think his wife thanks me.
Oh, there you go.
But that was my key issue
Mm-hmm.
when I first ran. And we were at the airport 7:30 in the morning, week after week, month after month, to create the authority. And actually, Michael Pallavino was the head of the airport at that time.
Right.
And he was just a wonderful man.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost him way too early.
And then John Egan came in?
And then John Egan, Father Ferrano. I
Right.
mean, there was a group, but it was. I am so proud today when I walk through that airport because I feel I had a very integral role in
So-
creating the authority to turn the airport into what it is today.
Why is it an international airport? Because there's one flight they might go to Mexico or Canada or something?
Yeah, but you never know what's going to
Toronto.
happen down the line. Let's think about the future.
Well, we can't land the big planes that would go over.
Well, hopefully, eventually, we will.
Okay, where do you want that runway to go?
We've got land.
We got
Believe me,
land?
we've got land
Okay.
out there.
All right, so another passion of yours is healthcare.
Yes.
And it says here you're chair of the health committee.
I was chair of either health or social services for 20 years. I am no longer chair of the health committee
Oh, what
as we
happened?
speak now. Ask the leaders.
Did you give it up or?
Ask the
I'm
leaders.
surprised.
So was I.
you and Frank Camiso go back so long. And,
Yeah.
Okay, well, but you're still involved with the nursing home and.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
You know.
And you're still on the health committee.
No, I'm not.
You're not even on the health committee.
You know, sometimes politics is very strange.
Oh, wow.
And if you disagree with certain
Yeah.
individuals,
Well, we saw that with Tim Nichols.
well, Tim Nichols has taken
Well, Chris
over now.
Higgins, rather. I'm sorry, we saw that with Chris Higgins.
Right.
When he disagreed with leadership and they removed him. And I got up and spoke at the county legislature about
I
that.
remember that.
Because
Yeah.
I was,
Well, I
I
was.
just can't
Well, how do
believe.
you feel about the nursing home? I know that we've
Okay,
had
he
so
wants
many
to,
people
he
here.
wants to move on from this.
I know. Yeah, I just, because, we've had many, politicians from the Albany County and there, so it's become I think every time we talk about the
Well,
nursing home.
there's a gentleman, I don't know his name. Do you know the name of the gentleman from Nassau County who's supposed to come up here?
Mr. Slacky?
Yeah, something like that. Slacky, Jim Slacky or something. But he's supposed to be coming up here because you're going to have an LDC,
That's what's the plan. Now,
Local Development Corporation.
right. I did support that the other night
Okay.
at our meeting. I supported County Executive Dan McCoy's decision when he wanted to bring a group in to take over the operation of the nursing home. On Easter Sunday, ironic, on Easter Sunday, I went to Syracuse to check out the Central Park Nursing Home, which this group was operating. Because I wanted to see for myself firsthand who they were, what the place looked
What's
like.
the name of the company?
It was called Central Park.
No, what's the name of the company?
I just went totally blank. I
Oh,
had a
okay.
senior
Okay,
moment.
no problem. I did
See,
too. I did
you
too.
know, I know it
I
as
did
though it's.
DGC or something? Okay,
But anyway, I went out.
right.
I spoke with family members. I spoke with residents who called Central Park their home.
Right.
Spoke with employees. And they had negotiated twice. I don't know whether you knew this, but they negotiated twice with 1199, the union.
SEIU.
Right, SEIU, your neighbors down the street here.
Okay.
And I was very impressed. They had a daycare for 49 people. beautiful daycare. I mean, they weren't there on that day particularly, but where they bring.
No, it's a nursing home. Why do you need
It's a
daycare?
nursing home. They have a senior daycare.
Oh,
Senior daycare, which
Okay.
has become very important.
Really?
Because so many families have their
the way you
their
come
loved
into this
ones.
world is the way you leave the
Well,
world?
you know, if it works.
Okay.
And so many people stay with their children
Yes.
and live with them. But what are they going to do during the day?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to leave their parents who may have some situations. They really don't want to leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring them to an adult daycare.
Wow.
And it's wonderful.
Okay.
We have some in Albany as well.
So did you like this group?
Oh, I was so impressed.
Okay.
The employees, the residents, family members. I mean, I spoke with this
And-
one. I mean, I spoke with a variety of people that day. No one, you know, I said I'm a legislator from Albany County,
Right.
and I'm doing a fact-finding mission.
Right.
I just don't know how many other of my colleagues did that.
Okay, so you liked it, and you were in favor of what Dan McCoy was proposing.
Exactly.
And then that ruffled feathers with Frank Comiso and Sean Morse, maybe, possibly?
Possibly.
Okay, so then this other idea with the LDC came up, and you also supported that.
Well, I did
Maybe.
because I supported it, but with a question the other night.
Which was?
I said, I hope that you're going in the right direction. I supported the county executive's direction because I believed in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing was the unions, the unions, the unions.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm concerned about the residents.
Mm-hmm.
The unions are important, but I'm concerned about the residents,
Right.
that they are taken care of properly.
Mm-hmm.
And the unions were not going to be knocked out. This organization had negotiated with unions.
Right.
But the unions, I don't know whether you knew what happened to me through this whole thing.
No,
They picketed my house.
oh,
Really?
I missed that one.
I had 20-some people in front of my house making the statement, MaryLou, shame on you, like I was not supporting them or the nursing home.
Because the new nursing home administration wouldn't be unionized? Is
They
that
were,
the
they
issue?
would
They
be.
were,
They
yeah.
would
What's the
be.
problem? I'm not getting
Well,
It's perception over reality also.
you know, it was a very awkward situation. Let me tell you, I went to I found out the night before that they were going to, they said it was a vigil, but if you look at the definition of a vigil
Yeah.
in the dictionary, it's not 20 people yelling, MaryLou, shame on you.
Right.
MaryLou, shame on you, to the top of their lungs. I went to all my neighbors and warned them that this was going to be happening. 2 weeks later, I was supposed to get the Virginia Horan Award for the town of Guilderland for my community service. And the dinner was canceled because people didn't want to cross the picket line again.
So who was going to give you the award?
The Guilderland Democratic Committee
Oh,
for my years of service within the community. I think you probably know, I have volunteered. I've been an Albany Rotarian. I have volunteered in this community
there's
my
a
whole
long
life.
list of organizations that that you've interacted with and that you've been a part of.
Right.
And that's what makes you who you are too.
You know, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of what I've done. I really am. I love it. I
And
absolutely.
part of something that you can have a representative stand up for your ideals, you know, that, and you're not going to pressure it in from other interest groups, that you think of the people that, like you say, the residents, that's really important.
So where does the nursing home issue stand now?
Right now, it's in the hands of the LDC.
Okay.
This was voted on the other night.
Did they appoint people to the LDC?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, people with tremendous credentials from within the community.
Okay.
And I mean, I respect those. You know, I've looked at the resumes, but you know, I've been in Albany.
Yeah.
I moved to Albany in '77.
Right.
You know, and the term Smallbany
Yeah.
is not negative, it's very positive. Because if you're involved in organizations and groups, you know people in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my community. I absolutely love it. And I I'm going to be 70 in 2 years, and everybody says, oh, you're going to run again? Of course I am. There's something to say about people who have experience.
Right.
Well, you also have the energy of a 20-year-old, I'll tell you that. Over here, that's what's needed.
This was political retribution.
How do I know? I was told, sorry, but we've got to take you off as chair of the health committee.
And not just the chair, but take you
Off totally.
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 And this is one of your passionate issues.
I was chair of social services for a
Right.
couple of years as well. And what was interesting was I always, as chair of health, wanted to be put on social services. I begged because the two were intertwined.
Yeah.
Sure.
And now Mr. Nichols, they put him on social services. I begged for that for years. So, it's politics is very strange.
Yeah, but you know the game. You know you're in it. You know what. You're not a newcomer to it. So.
Hey, listen, I welcome Tim Nichols.
Yeah.
The night of my last meeting as chair of the health committee, I spoke. I actually cried because I didn't think I would, but I did.
Yeah.
And I said, Tim, at least it's in your hands because you've served on the committee.
Sure.
So I did it gracefully. What can I say?
Mass transit, you're still on?
Yes, I'm still on mass transit.
Is that your only committee? Or?
No, actually, they had taken me off the Civic Center a couple of years ago.
Oh, and they put you back on.
And they have put me back on
That's
because
involved with
tourism.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Let me ask you something. I have people that talk to me, we talk at the table with all the, Jewish people always have their different opinions, to say the
as
least.
they
Yeah.
enjoy their bread.
Yeah, right. But, they say someone was bringing out, so I'm just throwing out to you that the convention center is a boondoggle and it won't be full and you're going to lose money. It's going to be a drain. You'll never fill it up. Who's going to come to Albany for a convention?
Here's my plan, and I
All
spoke to, who's the head of the convention?
Gavin Donahue was the
No,
head
the
of,
other-
but the new person. As I said, every once in a while.
I gave him a call, and I told him that when they build this convention center, they got to do this when they build it because you can't retrofit it, but they should put a kosher kitchen in there. Because there's an event that's in New Jersey now. It's called Kosher Fest. And you could get weddings and bar mitzvahs and trade shows and all sorts of things here from the Jewish
What a
community.
wonderful
Only
idea.
if you have a kosher kitchen. If you don't have that with a rabbi's supervision and all that, you're going to lose out on a lot of places, and because there's no place with a grand chandelier and with the large dance floor where you can everyone when they have a wedding or whatever they're crammed. They have a lot of people in a small space. There's no real place to have a grand dinner, a kosher dinner, let's say, or to have a wedding or a bar mitzvah. So I'm asking you to advocate for this.
Absolutely.
Okay?
What a... sometimes people can't see the trees
Right.
through the forest.
Right.
What a wonderful observation,
Okay.
because I have friends, actually Stephanie Pelham, a very dear friend of
Oh, yeah,
mine.
Music Mobile?
Well, no, Stephanie
Pelham.
did cooking at the Jewish Community Center,
Okay,
and they had a kitchen,
Yeah.
a special kitchen.
Right.
And she has talked to me about this
okay.
because she did the food there for a while at the Jewish Community Center on Whitehall Road.
Yes.
And there is a kitchen
Yes,
that
a
can be
kosher
used,
kitchen,
a kosher
yes.
kitchen.
But it's
And
small, but it is
I know
small,
it's
yeah.
small, but that's a fabulous because the purpose right now, I am 100% in support of a convention center. A new one, I have been supporting it since day one because that's my background.
Well, that's how you'll fill it up, is if you make it a kosher kitchen. That answers your question.
Well, no, but that's a wonderful, wonderful idea. And believe me, I will do my letter
Okay.
in support of that.
Good.
And I will try to get my legislative colleagues to sign on to support that as well.
Beautiful.
Because I think it's something we should do.
Yes.
Because we've got to look at the community. What is needed in our community?
Kosher food. We don't have a kosher restaurant. We need kosher restaurant. We need a kosher place. And there are more than 20,000 Jews. This is what my website, JBizTech Valley, is all about. more than 600 Jewish business owners. We have a vibrant, vital Jewish community in the 16-county area, and believe me, they will flock to Albany from all 16 counties if they have a place that they can have a wedding instead of going down to Rockland County or Orange County or some other place in, whether if it's not so kosher, they'll go to Cooperstown or they'll go to the Gideon Putnam. But if they have a kosher place, they'd come downtown Albany and they'd have it there.
That's a wonderful, wonderful,
Okay.
insight. I support it because I have been in, and we've got to start right now
Yes.
promoting it.
Yes, that's,
We've got to start now to fill it
yes.
when it opens in
Well, that's
two
it.
and a half years.
And
if they're figuring 2.5 years.
that's great.
2016, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to start now. It goes fast.
You've got to,
It goes
you've
fast.
got to market it from
Yeah,
this day
that's
forward. And it's the big thing. What's new?
Because
when you go to meetings and conventions, they could go to your conventions and
Right.
promote it.
Because Kosher Fest is looking, where are they going to go in 2018 or 2017?
Really, 3-4 years.
Oh,
out.
absolutely.
Oh,
5 years out.
100%.
Yeah.
We have programs that book 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at the sporting events at the Times Union Center.
Mm-hmm. Right.
3, 4, 5, 6 years out.
But not only that is when you get them 6 years from now, you sign them on a 3-year contract that they'll come back for the next 3 years. So it's a long-term thing. So let me ask you about mass transit. That's an oxymoron in this area, it seems. I mean, we got CDTA, but my whole thing was with mass transit is that we should have some sort of rail line along the Northway so that we can connect Saratoga with Troy and Albany and Amsterdam and Hudson and make it,
Well,
make us more friendly as a community.
it's interesting that you talk about that because the other night at the Mass Transit Committee,
Yeah.
this was discussed.
Oh, see, I was there in
You're
spirit.
ahead of your.
I was there in spirit.
It was discussed. Do you know how much it costs
Yes.
to build
Yes,
a railroad
yes.
line?
And do you know that it's
I don't.
90%
How much is it?
federally funded?
How much money are you talking about, MaryLou?
Especially if you build it along.
Probably billions of dollars.
Hundreds,
I would
it's
think,
hundreds
I
of
mean,
billions of dollars. But
that's
you
a
know
lot.
what? But you know what? When you got someone like Senator Schumer, who's the third-ranking, most senior member in the U.S. Senate, well, like Daniel Patrick Moynihan got I-88 built, Senator Schumer could easily push this through and make this happen.
It sounds wonderful, but I don't believe we'll see it in our lifetime.
I understand.
I
I
really
understand.
don't because
But I still
Carmen
think
Basilla
Yeah.
from the
CDTA.
CDTA spoke the other night at our meeting, and we were talking about the expenses involved with the rail. I mean, we have railroads that do run up there, but dollar and cent wise, it's not. It does not.
But do you know, that's now. But when you have a mass transit system like that, even if it's a light rail or whatever, you can then have an attraction where people will want to move here. Because then they know they can easily get to Amsterdam, Schenectady, Troy, Saratoga, Albany, Hudson, and they know that it'll be easy and it won't take very long, and you get there and you can walk around in all these cities. There's a lot of these cities are not like Manhattan, where you have tens of miles to go once you get off the train, but you have maybe 4 blocks, 5 blocks. You're going to Amsterdam for a reason. You're only going to have to walk a few blocks, and then at Saratoga also, you have it, where you go down Broadway, and
It's a great idea, but I don't
but
see
no one
it
has even
being realistic. Oh, it's been discussed. Believe me, the Capital District Transportation Authority. I mean, they've been looking at it. The regional group,
but makes us. That's what Buffalo has a light rail that only goes like 4 stops. Okay, but they have a light rail, and that's something that people look at and say, well, maybe Buffalo. Wow, they can easily expand on that.
Well,
But-
hopefully when we get the convention center,
That's right.
and we have more folks, and we keep filling it up,
That's right.
maybe something will
We got
develop.
to turn this loss of population around.
Well, I'll tell you, the convention center is a start in the right
It
direction.
is, and so
It really is.
and so is increasing mass transit. And if the people who don't want it should get out of the way and let the people who want it do it.
Well, I've got to say one thing, though. The bus routes have improved,
Take too
improved. And they do have, now look at what's going on now with the bus route between Schenectady County Community College
Right.
and its downtown campus, which is
Right.
at 112 State Street. I mean, I think it's wonderful that we have brought Schenectady County Community College
Yes.
into
Yes,
Albany.
yes. But it's small, those are small
But it's a
pieces
start.
of that.
But
That's
it's a
right.
start.
But it's not even a kernel, it's not even the root. I mean, we need to start dealing with growing this thing now and making it happen. We
I don't disagree with you.
You know.
But I want to be realistic.
There's so much
what can I say?
There's so much engineering that has to go into making this happen that it's probably 10 years down the road for just the engineering specs, let alone getting it in the federal timeline.
Well, we've
budget
just got to keep
timeline.
Schumer there.
Well, I'm sure you'll work on that. So he's one of your
Oh,
buddies.
I'll never forget the day he won. The first time he did a city-by-city tour across New York State.
Yes.
And I got a picture with him. I had a picture taken with him at the airport with Helen DeFossis
Oh, yeah.
and myself. And I finally, about 2 months ago, he had a meeting at the airport, and I finally got him to sign it.
Oh, you did? Oh, remember this? So what other passions do you have in this legislature that you
Well,
really
the
want
nursing
to-
home, I mean, is
Yeah.
still one of my passions. I've been going out there. They have a quality assurance review committee.
Yep.
And the years that I was chair of social services, I attended the majority of those meetings. Very few of my colleagues have ever attended the quality assurance review committee meetings at the nursing home. You know, volunteerism is a passion of mine. Every Equinox Thanksgiving that you hear the music in the background at Equinox, that's for the last 12 years. I'm the one who's playing the piano back there in the background. I volunteer. The senior services, I have volunteered with them for years as a Rotarian. Volunteerism is very, very important. It's part of my passion.
Well, bring out the piano. No.
You got it.
MaryLou.
And we'll do Hava Nagila for you.
There you go.
No, you are talented on the piano.
Well, you know, God gives you a gift and you
That's
need to
right.
give it back. And I've been doing this. That's why, Rabbi, when you were saying, I know these songs because I've been playing them my whole life.
I also have to tell you that you do have a Jewish gathering place. I don't want to call it a synagogue necessarily.
Oh,
but
in
it is
around
a
the corner from where I live.
Shabbos house. And you've been there several times.
Oh,
you were there for
yes.
the opening. And it's so nice that, you know, you want to connect and blend and
They are
promote. You know,
wonderful,
the Rubens are
wonderful
yeah.
people. You know, I am so proud of what they've accomplished there. I've been over to Shabbos House many, many times over the years, and it's so wonderful to have a meeting place
For the students.
for the students at
Yeah,
SUNY.
they do a lot of good things for the students.
Oh my God,
Students
yes.
need, you know, everybody thinks about the math and the science, et cetera, but there's a full life for students. They can't just go to school. They're away from home. You know, that's what they call Shabbos house. It's a home away from home. You can't just give a student just their math and science. Very good, you know, let them learn, but there's a whole life behind it.
And they jump through hoops to be able to
Oh.
build the house there and that on that property. They
And I
just-
mean, it's the only,
yeah.
isn't it synagogue or
Yes.
in
Right.
Guilderland?
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
it,
and it is just, you know, as I said, I've been there and their family, but the students, I mean, the joy, and students come back after they've graduated
Yes.
because it is a home.
They have a dedicated alumni. They
Oh,
really do, yes.
Very, very, very good.
Mary
group.
Lou, we're going to we were out of time, but we're going to invite you back because you've been doing such great work. You know, compassionate, and I mean it. You have the energy of a 20-year-old, so therefore, I also am 29 years old. You have another 100 years to live, till 120, but from 20 years old, not from older. And you're doing great work. You have been doing great work, and with passion, it's important. And I think, you know, obviously people see that, and that's why you're looking out for the people, and you're there for 20 years. You should be there for longer, just carrying out the good work that you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for being our guest.
How do we say, l'chaim, to life?
To life.